Hi everyone, welcome to week 8. In week 8, you're going to be reading chapters 12 and 14. You're going to be completing My Econ Lab number 3, which is located in My Econ Lab, and you're going to be completing quiz number 3. Quiz number 3 is going to consist of 25 multiple choice questions, focusing on questions from both chapters 12 and 14. So what I'm going to do is go through some of these questions, and we'll use this as your study guide. I'll go through some of them, not all of them. Now, when we look at this question, we're looking at barriers to entry. What market structures will have barriers to entry? Now, when we look at monopolistically competitive, they're not as efficient as perfect competition. Make sure to note that in your analysis when you answer question 2. Market structures that have slightly differentiated products are monopolistically competitive firms, and they have very low or few barriers to entry and exit in the market. Monopolistically competitive firms will not earn economic profit in the long run because of the existence of the low barriers to entry and exit. Monopolistically competitive firms have monopoly power. They have some ability to differentiate their products because they advertise and they can have entry into markets. In the long run, monopolistically competitive firms are always going to earn normal profit. More firms enter the market, you're going to notice that more buyers are going to increase demand. A duopoly is where there's two firms in a market. Collusion is going to result in these types of markets when firms work together to decide on the best prices to be charged. Now with chapter 14, you're going to look at marginal revenue product. Marginal revenue product is how much additional revenue each worker brings in. To find the marginal revenue product, it's equal to the marginal product of labor, and it's also focused on how much each person makes. The purpose of why we look at the marginal revenue product is we're looking at how much each worker brings in terms of revenue. That's an important concept to focus on. A firm will hire workers where the marginal revenue product equals the wage that they charge their workers. A perfectly competitive firm is just like the market structure. They're going to hire all workers at the same wage rate. So those are some of the questions that you're going to be focused on this week. Now, let's go over chapter 12 and some of the concepts there. Chapter 12 is focused on the role of monopolistically competitive firms and oligopolies. A monopolistically competitive firm is an example of fast food restaurants or an example of Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. There's many firms in the market selling products that are slightly differentiated. When products are slightly differentiated, this will cause a change in the price of the product because firms will be able to advertise. You'll see the difference here in this market structure. It's a downward sloping demand curve, which is different than a perfectly competitive firm. Perfectly competitive firm had a horizontal demand curve, and they were called price takers in the market. Now, in the long run, these firms are only going to break even or earn what's called normal profit, which means they're going to only earn what they expect to earn. Now, oligopolies, let me get to that market structure. An oligopoly is going to be focused on price leadership. Price leadership is focused on how oligopolies will determine the price that they're going to charge in the market based on number of factors. And one of the main factors is the high amount of barriers to entry that's present in the market. When you have high barriers to entry, that'll create a lot of challenges in the market. So those are some of the concepts that we're looking at this week. Make sure to finish all of your work by Saturday night. And if you have any questions, let me know, but I look forward to your effort.